You're listening to Innovators by bcjobs.ca, Western Canada's largest job board. This podcast is about innovative companies with a focus on people. What sets them apart in terms of their leaders, company culture, and future outlook? As a business leader, what can you do to encourage innovation? As a recruiter, what can you do to adopt an innovative corporate culture? And as a job candidate, what can you do to stand out?
Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Simon, and I'll be your host for today's episode with Cyrus, CEO and co-founder of Wize, an online learning platform for high school and college students. To date, Cyrus has helped over 100,000 students across North America through his various startups, and is on a mission to help millions of students reach their full potential. Prior to founding Wize, Cyrus co-founded a couple of online tutoring and educational platforms. Cyrus, I'm going to stop talking here. I think you know yourself the best. Why don't you let the audience know what you're doing right now at Wize and how you got here?
Yeah, I guess I graduated McGill University in 2012. I had a lot of experience being a teaching assistant and private tutor throughout my university degree. I majored in finance and was much more passionate about education. So right out of the gates, upon graduating, I started my first education company. And that company was called Beat Your Course. And what we did is we operated in-person exam intensive prep sessions, primarily helping first-year university and college students adjust into the university environment with that first set of exams. And what we did with that company is we would hire remarkable PhD level educators who would do 12-hour intensive review sessions a week before exams, usually 6 hours one day, 6 hours the next day. And with that company, we really helped over 50,000 students between 2012 and 2017. We started in Western Canada and then expanded across the country. And it was when I moved to Toronto in 2017 that we had the idea to try to create a tech-first solution to helping students, which we call Wize. And in 2017, we set on a more grandiose vision to try to help students across North America in both high school prepare for university and college, and in university and college make sure that they get the support they need to reach their full potential.
So the biggest difference between your first startup, Beat Your Course, and the second, Wize, is that you're really transitioning everything over to an online-based platform. Can you tell us a little bit about how Wize works?
Yeah, so essentially the best way to explain it would be if you're familiar with Khan Academy or YouTube, or if you've ever tried to learn online, let's say you're learning calculus, Google's great. You can type what you're looking for help with, but we found that you never could find something that was as customized or personalized as you would want it to be. So what Wize does is we actually personalize and customize all of our content according to specific courses at specific schools across North America. So an example would be that, on Khan Academy, you might go get help with grade 11 math, whereas on Wize, you'll be able to enter your specific school, your specific province, and you'll be able to get help with grade 11 math that's custom tailored to your respective area.
Let's say you wanted to add a new school, let's say in Vancouver, that is not currently on Wize. What does the process look like?
Yeah, so basically we would first search into what are the most popular, hardest courses that students would need help with at that respective school. And then we would hire students in each one of those respective classes, and we would pair them with one of our subject experts who are usually PhD or master level, remarkable online educators. And they would work with that respective student to understand how they could come up with a solution that's hyper custom tailored to that student's respective course and university. And then they would go back into the development of the course, where they would create all the materials the students in that specific course would need to get an A+ throughout their academic journey.
Yeah. You mentioned you worked with over 50,000 PhD students. Let's say I'm a PhD student and I'm really interested in Wize. Like, how does that work? Do you usually reach out to these PhD students based on their grades, or do they reach out to you on your platform? Like, how does the onboarding process look like?
Yeah, so 50,000 PhDs would be a lot. Beat Your Course, my first company, helped over 50,000 students so far since 2012. Wize, our second company, spelled with a Z, Wize, has helped over 50,000 students since 2017. But throughout helping all of those students, we have worked with a tremendous number of PhDs, and I've actually interviewed well over 1,000. I've hired, trained, and managed well over 100. And finding really remarkable educators is part of what we specialize at on Wize. And, we want to scale those really good educators all around the world. One of the advantages of being online and tech first is, we can take someone from anywhere in the world and we can scale them online to anywhere else in the world. And we kind of break down those geographic barriers that have, traditionally kind of haunted the education sector.
I wanted to shift gears here. You mentioned, breaking the barriers. During this period of time of social distancing and COVID, a lot of different industries have been affected, but it seems like online education has been one of the areas that has not, and in fact has grown quite a bit. Would you be able to talk a little bit about what the last 3 to 4 months has looked like for Wize, and maybe looking forward, what do you anticipate will happen with the online industry?
Yeah, we're really fortunate to be in online education and to see online education at the forefront, and for so many people around the world to be embracing technology really for almost the first time in centuries is really exciting to us. And us having, 3 years of experience working on ed tech solutions really kind of puts us in a unique position to capitalize on a lot of the remarkable opportunities that are being presented now. That being said, I don't think it would be fair to say anything has been easy the last couple months. And even in the case for which it positively affected your company's industry, I think that there was a lot that happened very abruptly that, we had to make sure we came together as a team and as a very resilient bunch. I think we adapted it as well as we could have, and I'm really excited about the progress that we've made. But yeah, definitely, I would say short term had some negative ramifications, just, canceling all of the students' exams and all of the education being upended. And the time that it happened, it was right before second semester was about to end and right before we usually help a ton of students. But all in all, I think it's pushed online education forward by 10 plus years. And, the opportunities that we're now going after in September are much, much bigger problems that we think we can make a big positive impact towards.
Yeah, we were talking earlier that recently online education has received a lot of attention from investors, and Wize is one of those companies. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about what's going on with Wize? I know you're currently in a round of fundraising.
Yeah, we're always fundraising. We've been pretty lucky that in 2012, me and my co-founding CTO, who I've actually worked with for 8 years now, when we started our first company, we bootstrapped it, and it got to a place where it was a very profitable company and allowed us to, expand our horizons with Wize. And we started out bootstrapping that company as well. But yeah, about a year into Wize, we did a friends and family round, and now we're just concluding a pre-seed or seed round. The nomenclature for everyone is a little bit different, but we are now in the process of just finalizing a round that's intended to accelerate our growth, and it allowed for us to accelerate our expansion into high school. Traditionally, since 2012, we've only operated in helping college and university students. And in the next couple of years, we were planning to expand into high school. And as a result of COVID, we accelerated our expansion and will now have a full product suite from grade 9 all the way through grade 12 for high school students across North America.
Wow. So sounds like some lofty goals. How large is your team right now?
Right now, we're 13 full-time staff, and then we have about 150 educators that work for us to help us produce content and support all the different students.
Sounds like there's going to be a lot of growth on your end, even within your staff, to be able to grow, across the nation and even internationally.
Yeah, and the big thing is, when there's too many good opportunities, you're really trying to discern from the ones that are distractions and the ones that could actually, materialize into remarkable opportunities. So we've been doing a lot of experiments all summer, and we're now honing in our focus, to those big bets where we think we can make the biggest, most positive impact. So yeah, summer of experimentation, and now we got to wind it down and say, we can't do 100 good things. We got to choose a couple remarkable things.
I wanted to shift gears on you one more time here. You mentioned, you have 13 people within your team, and the most successful leaders always talk about the importance of people, often saying that they would have never been able to do what they have done without a select people around them. When it comes to people, and as a CEO of Wize, how do you approach managing people? And I assume right now, with COVID and everyone's working remotely, there might be some challenges, but can you tell us a little bit about how you approach managing your people?
For sure. Yeah. I'd switch out managing for supporting. And that's what I try to do as the CEO. I try to, just like we're on a mission to provide an essential study tool that enables students to reach their full potential, I'm on a mission to help support my own staff to hopefully allow them to reach their full potential. So, we have a very flat organization. Communication is super, super important. I always stress over communicate, especially in times like this when you're going through a pandemic. But we also try to make sure, anybody's ideas can be heard, and that we have a culture that actually embraces making mistakes, because, the expression where your muscles only grow when they're being flexed, right? It's like the same thing with people. People need to flex their own muscles, and, it's through making mistakes, or in that analogy, your muscles breaking, that you actually experience that growth. So we really try to push that on our entire team, as long as you learn from your mistakes. So push yourself into uncomfortable situations, be completely okay with making mistakes, but make sure you definitely learn from those mistakes to be able to move forward stronger and better.
I think all those quotes really ring true to a lot of different CEOs and even HR managers that are facilitating a kind of collaborative corporate culture. Well, during COVID, a lot of people aren't working in the office. Everyone's working remote. Is it a challenge to get everyone together? Is your team still getting together for in-person events, or is that kind of pushed aside during a social distancing period?
We started the company 100% remote. And maybe 9 months ago, we moved into a really nice office in downtown Vancouver that had a pool table and ping pong and all this sort of stuff. And I'd say for the first 3 months, we were all pretty excited by it. But, we stopped playing pool, we stopped playing ping pong, and some of those things that had us exciting in the beginning kind of shifted away, and we started to even miss, working from home, I think, across the board, everyone. So we were really lucky that we started so remote that it was really easy for us to, about a month or a couple months ago now, give up our office space. We were really lucky to be able to get out of our lease completely. And on March 15th, as soon as COVID happened and we anticipated, a lot of issues to come if we were to continue working together in the office space, yeah, we gave it up. And yeah, I think everyone on our team is pretty happy. Maybe aside from a couple of people who really valued that a little bit more structure in that routine, but we've been working with those people to figure out how we can still kind of implement that into their work.
You mentioned you guys meet up every Thursday. This was before COVID, playing spike ball every Thursday. Is that still happening now?
Oh yeah, no, that's one thing that we definitely do to get together as a team. We actually just started that 3 weeks ago, and we missed getting together in person. And when we felt it was safe for about less than 10 of us, I think was the rule, to come together. We went to a local park, and every Thursday afternoon we kind of share ideas we have and play spike ball and volleyball and do get together. I think there is something about making sure you don't go too remote and you never have any in-person interactions. But yeah.
Are you one of the best spike ball players on the team?
I'm the worst spike ball player on the team. I'm so bad compared to them. But I give it my best effort each time, and I am indeed getting better.
Yeah, that's cool. I wanted to talk to you about people, right? People and culture are sometimes said to be the most important thing in a company, and more important than the industry or the technology itself. When you put the right team together, anything is possible. As the leader in your company, you are in charge of selecting new people to join your army, so to speak. How do you and maybe the HR team come together to ensure that you're selecting the right people when you're hiring, to ensure that people continue to steer the ship towards the right direction?
Every single hire I've been personally responsible for making the final decision on and making sure that the final interview was handled by me, and more than anything that their values align with our cultural values. And we're looking for pretty unique people who want to try to change the world for the better and go after this very ambitious, as you said earlier, lofty goal, but who have that optimism towards a lot of good people coming together and doing something great. So yeah, we look for grit and willingness to learn, and we're a younger team, so we really stress that we have to make up for being young by working really hard, and not just really hard but really smart, and not just working hard and smart but also learning like crazy and improving. And I think it all stems from the top. I feel like Superman only because of the team around me that allows for me to accomplish a lot of the things that I do. And I hope that I support my own team like they support me, for me to let them feel, that they can accomplish anything.
Right. You mentioned a couple of very important values, willingness to learn and grit. Those are very important. We did some research on the Harvard Business Review, and we found that the most innovative companies usually have five things in common. And that's non-hierarchical, which you mentioned earlier, highly collaborative, tolerance for failure, willingness to experiment, and freedom of speech. Despite the fact that we know all of this, it's very hard to create and sustain this type of innovative culture. How do you envision yourself as Wize is growing? How do you make sure that you're developing this type of innovative and fun culture? And not only that, but sustaining it as you're growing?
Yeah, I think it comes down to recognizing that those five things that you just indicated can't be manufactured. And I have a close advisor to me who really reinforces that to me and says that, it needs to come from an authentic place. And I think that's kind of one of the most important things that I try to instill in my team is, to be super authentic. And, I'm reading a book right now called Radical Candor. And I think it's a great book. And, radical candor is something that we also try to interject, which is, I think, goes back to the piece around communication. But all in all, grit is another kind of super important thing to us.
How do you measure grit? When you're looking at a candidate, how do you tell? Like, is it just something over time and with experience that you can just look at a candidate and be like, yeah, this guy has grit? Or are there certain questions that you're asking or certain types of experiences that you're looking for?
There's a test in this book by Angela Duckworth, and it's called Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. And a funny story about that is in 2017, before I started Wize, I read that book, and I realized that I wasn't gritty enough, and I needed to be more gritty, and it inspired me to actually start Wize and to try to think about how I could be more gritty. But I think, when it comes to exploring if a candidate has that, for me, it's more of a feeling, and, more through spending the necessary time to get to know that person. And yeah, again, get to that place where they're being authentic and you're being authentic. And when you're both being authentic, I think real conversations take place that allow for you to actually search out those sort of qualities and identify if, that person is a good fit with the rest of your team and cultural values.
So during the hiring process, then right now you have 13 members on your team. I'm guessing you spend a lot of time with each member before you choose to hire them because you have to really understand them on a deeper level.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think something unique to us is I believe every single person that works full time for us, all of them went through a 3-month sort of independent contractor relationship where they worked very part time, usually in addition to their already full-time job. And we would give them an opportunity to really see what it's like to work for Wize and give us an opportunity to see what it's like to work for them. And then only at the end of, upwards of a 3-month sort of trial would we then say that we think we're a perfect fit for each other. And most of the times it's worked out. And sometimes after 3 months, both of us realized we weren't a good fit, or, one of us realized it. But I think, so far, which is probably not a scalable solution moving forward, we've been able to do that with every hire to date.
Wow, a lot of care put into each one of your employees. And maybe that's the reason why you guys still get together every single Thursday and play some spike ball and drink some beers and actually have fun with each other, because you spend so much time and so much thought into finding each person. So that's very powerful. Wanted to shift gears here, still talking about the same topic. A lot of our users on bcjobs.ca are candidates, and they range from marketing to IT, sales, accounting, a lot of different roles that potentially Wize will hire in the future. So when you look around the company, and for the candidates that are listening that are interested in Wize, what type of people usually succeed? And you mentioned grit. You mentioned they have to pass a certain 3-month probation. Is there like a similarity between all the people? Are they just all very passionate about education? Are they just really hardworking and put in extra hours, extra time? If you were to generalize, what type of candidates usually work at Wize?
People who are very passionate to try to make a very positive impact in education. But I'd actually say that every single individual team member at Wize is so different. They're more different than they are the same. And, we are looking for unique people with different perspectives. And I think, I actually learned this lesson really early on in my career, and I'm thankful for it. When I first started that company I mentioned, Beat Your Course, in 2012, I actually called my best friend and I said, hey, I want you to start this with me. And he was very similar to me. He also went to business school. He also studied the same thing. And what I found out very quickly was we had, the exact same skill set, the exact same ideas, the exact same thoughts. And we actually came to the conclusion that we probably weren't, best to be business partners, and we better just stay best friends. And then I had a completely different perspective, and I changed gears and I said, I'm going to call, the smartest people that I know that are so different from me. And I called someone who was actually going to medical school but taking a gap year, and I wanted his help. And I called another friend of mine who is now my CTO and co-founder, and someone who I've worked with for 8 years. And, he was very, very different than me. And I think that's kind of in our DNA, is to look for unique and different perspectives. But ultimately, every single person, the one similarity is that they have a tremendous passion for wanting to make a remarkable and positive impact in the education sector, and to, do their part to help society.
What does the next 4 to 5 months look like for Wize? Can you give us any examples of any cool initiatives? You mentioned a capital fundraising. Any other kind of initiatives that Wize is putting together to ensure growth during and even post-COVID?
Yeah, we're really excited to expand in the high school domain. That's like a really big initiative for us, offering courses all the way from grade 9 through grade 12. And we're looking to actually give away a lot of free resources to underfunded high schools and see if we can make an impact there. So I'm pretty excited about that. When COVID happened, we were just about to do a very significant amount of revenue, and we had to make the decision to try to still go after that revenue, or to shift our focus to try to better understand what the students and teachers and administrations were going through, and to see, if maybe we want to give away everything for free. And I think we were one of the first companies, tech companies in Canada, to just say, during this time of COVID, we're actually going to give everything completely away for free. And we got picked up by TechCrunch and BetaKit as one of the first tech companies in Canada to do that. So, I'm excited to just see where we can make the biggest impacts possible. And we do have a lot of cool initiatives underway.
You mentioned expanding into high school. Is that just in a certain region within all of Canada, or like even in the US as well?
To give you an idea of the scale we're going for, last year we operated at 16 universities, and this upcoming year we're looking to expand to over 500 schools across North America. So this is a very, very big next 12 months for us.
Well, one last gear shift here. We not related at all to education, but we're just wondering, with this whole COVID thing, scary stuff, a lot of diseases. We're wondering if there was a zombie apocalypse that, hits our world tomorrow, hits Vancouver tomorrow, what would be the first thing you would do? Would you go to a certain area? Would you grab certain resources? What would be the first thing you'd do to ensure your survival?
We spoke a lot throughout our conversation about the importance of team. And, I really do believe that the team that, we've put together today can accomplish anything. So I think I would do what I usually do whenever I'm hitting a really big obstacle or I don't know what to do. And that is I call an all hands on deck meeting where, we didn't speak about this, but how important it is to be transparent with everyone. And, I guess it's kind of within kind of over communicating, but we have a very transparent culture as well. So I would simply call our entire team together, and I genuinely believe that our team can overcome any challenge. So hopefully we don't have to face it, but that we could even help overcome a zombie apocalypse.
Well, I will leave that there for now. For everyone that has tuned in, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, take care, be safe, and consider checking out wizeedemy.com for their online educational platform. Thanks so much for joining us today, Cyrus.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Simon. And yeah, for anyone who wants to check us out, you can either Google Wize with a Z, Wize, or you can go to our URL, which is wizeedemy, wizeedemy.com. Thanks a lot for the conversation, Simon, and wish you all the best.
Hello, everyone. This is Simon, Vice President of bcjobs.ca. BC Jobs is used by hundreds of recruiters and over 200,000 candidates per month. We also run career fairs to help support the jobs market. We regularly run career fairs both in person and virtually, with up to 400 candidates per career fair. Visit bcjobs.ca to discover jobs locally and remote.